In the heart of the Aegean Sea, on the sun-drenched island of Crete, a shadow loomed. A great and terrible secret was kept by its powerful king, Minos. Deep beneath his magnificent palace at Knossos, a structure of impossible complexity was built, the Labyrinth. And within its twisting, maddening corridors lived a monster born of shame and divine punishment, the Minotaur, a creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull. This beast, with its insatiable hunger, was not just a prisoner. It was a weapon, a tool of terror used by King Minos to dominate his rivals, and his greatest rival was Athens. Years earlier, Minos' son had been tragically killed in Athens, and in his grief-fueled rage, Minos declared war. Athens, unable to match Crete's naval power, was forced to accept a horrifying tribute. Every 9 years, Athens had to send 7 of its finest young men and 7 of its most beautiful maidens to Crete. They would not return. Their fate was to be cast into the Labyrinth, to be hunted and devoured by the Minotaur. Twice the grim tribute had been paid. Twice Athens had wept for its lost children. As the third tribute approached, a palpable despair fell over the city. But this time, something was different. A young man, his heart burning with a fire for justice, stepped forward. This was Theseus, the secret son of Aegeus, the king of Athens. He was strong, brave, and had already proven his heroism on his journey to the city. He looked at his father, the grieving king, and at the weeping families, and declared, "I will go, but I will not go as a sacrifice. I will go as a champion. I will enter the labyrinth, I will slay the Minotaur, and I will end this curse upon Athens." The king begged him not to go, fearing he would lose the son he had only just found. But Theseus was resolute. He promised his father that if he succeeded, he would change the black sail of the tribute ship to a white one on his return, a signal of victory visible from afar. With a heavy heart, King Aegeus agreed. And so, Theseus joined the 14 doomed youths, his presence a single spark of hope in their dark journey across the sea to Crete. Upon arriving in Crete, the Athenian youths were paraded before King Minos and his court. It was there that Theseus's eyes met those of Ariadne, the king's daughter. She was struck by his noble bearing and defiant courage. Unlike her cruel father, Ariadne's heart was filled with pity for the Athenians. That night, she secretly went to Theseus. She couldn't bear the thought of this brave hero being lost in the maze. She offered him a deal. "I will help you conquer the labyrinth and the Minotaur, but you must promise to take me away from this wretched island and make me your wife in Athens." Theseus, seeing the sincerity and desperation in her eyes, agreed. Ariadne then gave him 2 crucial gifts. The first was a sword, sharp and ready. The second was a simple ball of thread. "The labyrinth was designed by the genius Daedalus," she whispered. "No one who enters can ever find their way out. As you go in, tie one end of this thread to the entrance. Unravel it as you walk. It will be your only guide back to the light." The next morning, the heavy stone doors of the labyrinth groaned open. The air that wafted out was stale, thick with the stench of death and the faint, terrifying echo of a monstrous roar. One by one, the Athenian youths were forced inside. Theseus was the last. He gave Ariadne a final, determined look, tied the end of the thread to the doorpost as she had instructed, and plunged into the oppressive darkness. The corridors twisted and turned, designed to confuse and disorient. The walls seemed to shift, and every corner looked the same. The silence was unnerving, broken only by the dripping of water and the pounding of his own heart. Following the thread, Theseus pushed deeper and deeper into the maze, his hand always on the hilt of his sword. He could feel the monster's presence growing stronger, a palpable aura of savage hunger. Finally, he reached the center of the labyrinth. And there it was, the Minotaur. It was larger and more terrifying than any story could describe. Its muscular human body strained with raw power, and its bull head, with flaring nostrils and vicious horns, turned towards him. With a deafening roar that shook the very foundations of the maze, the beast charged. What followed was a battle of epic proportions. Theseus was quick and agile, dodging the Minotaur's furious lunges. The monster was pure brute force, its horns gouging chunks out of the stone walls. The space was tight, the air thick with dust and the scent of blood. Theseus used his intelligence, feinting and weaving, waiting for an opening. The Minotaur, driven by blind rage, grew tired. Seeing his chance, Theseus lunged forward, plunging Ariadne's sword deep into the creature's heart. The Minotaur let out one last, agonizing bellow before crashing to the ground, lifeless. Silence returned to the labyrinth, a silence of victory. Now came the second challenge, escape. The other Athenians were lost and terrified in the maze, but Theseus had Ariadne's thread. Carefully, he followed his lifeline back through the winding passages, gathering his terrified companions along the way. They retraced their steps, their hope growing with every yard of thread they rewound, until finally they saw it, a sliver of daylight. They burst out of the labyrinth, gasping the fresh, clean air of freedom. True to his word, Theseus found Ariadne waiting. Under the cover of night, they, along with the other Athenians, snuck to the harbor. They sabotaged the Cretan fleet so they couldn't be pursued, and set sail for Athens with Ariadne by Theseus's side. However, their journey back was fraught with a strange and tragic turn. They stopped on the island of Naxos to rest. What happened next is debated in the myths. Some say the god Dionysus appeared to Theseus and claimed Ariadne for himself. Others say Theseus cruelly and inexplicably abandoned her while she slept. Whatever the reason, when Ariadne awoke, she was alone. Theseus and the Athenians were gone. In his haste to leave Naxos, or perhaps in his grief over leaving Ariadne, Theseus made a fatal mistake. He forgot his promise to his father. As his ship neared the coast of Athens, it still bore the black sail of mourning. Old King Aegeus had been waiting day and night on the cliffs, straining his eyes for a sign of his son's return. When he saw the black sail on the horizon, his heart shattered. Believing his beloved son was dead, he was overcome with despair and threw himself from the cliffs into the sea below. That sea, to this day, is called the Aegean Sea in his memory. Theseus returned a hero, the savior of Athens, but his victory was forever stained by the tragedy of his father's death. He became king, but he ruled with a heavy heart. Now let's take a moment and look beyond the thrilling adventure. What does this ancient story really mean? The labyrinth isn't just a maze of stone, it's a symbol of the complex, confusing, and often terrifying journey we all face in life. It's the challenge that seems impossible, the problem we can't see a way out of. The Minotaur, the monster at the center, represents the beast within ourselves or our society. It could be our primal fears, our hidden anxieties, our self-doubt, or a brutal force in the world we must confront. It's that dark thing we try to ignore, but which ultimately must be faced. And Theseus? He is the hero in all of us. The courage we find to face our Minotaur. But he doesn't do it alone. The thread of Ariadne is a powerful symbol. It represents logic, wisdom, a plan, or the help we receive from others. It tells us that brute force isn't enough. We need intelligence and guidance to navigate life's labyrinths. You can't just fight the monster, you have to find your way back out into the light. Finally, the tragic ending serves as a cautionary tale. Theseus's greatest victory is immediately followed by his greatest personal loss, all because of a forgotten detail, the sail. It reminds us that even in our moments of triumph, a lack of mindfulness, a single oversight, can have devastating consequences. The story of Theseus is a timeless lesson. We all have a labyrinth to navigate and a Minotaur to face, but with courage, a clear plan, and mindful attention to our promises, we can hope to find our way through. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into Greek mythology. If you enjoyed this story and want to explore more legends from the ancient world, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us create more content for you. Let us know in the comments which myth you'd like to see next. Until then, stay curious.